Hi, this is Brian Freed, and I was just interviewed on the Keith Andrew Network. Andrew, thank you so much for having me as a guest. You're fantastic as a host, and look forward to doing this again soon. Keep on listening, inventors and entrepreneurs and everybody else that gets something from you, Andrew. Good job.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the one and only Keith Andrew Network. That's right, I am your host, Keith Andrew, and today I'm here with the one and only Brian Freed. I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
Thank you, Andrew.
No, the honor's all mine. And like I said, anything can happen live. Now, one thing I do want to point out real fast is you're looking away. If you can look straight, now, there you go. Now it looks like we're making eye contact.
Okay.
I have that habit too when I look at the camera. So I'm looking this way, and I'm like, wait, why is he looking away? But I know it's easier to get a studio, so we're in person. But hey, we're gonna do what we're gonna do, right, to get there.
Absolutely.
But with that being said, it's a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. Looking forward to the interview and building a friendship with you as well.
For sure.
Now, the first thing I do want to talk about for our listeners, anyone who's a big fan of the Keith Andrew Network, you can go to the. Now I'm looking at my own reflex, and I guess it's cut Jesus. Anyone who's a big fan of the Keith Andrew Network, you can go to YouTube.com, subscribe to the Keith Andrew Network. Diarrhea on the mouth. Go to YouTube.com, type in Keith Andrew Network, hit subscribe, hit that bell icon, and you will be notified when brand new episodes are on YouTube. Also, you don't have to use YouTube if you don't want to. Go to Facebook.com, type in KeithAndrewNetwork.com, like and subscribe to the fan page. The videos will be on YouTube and Facebook.com. See, when I don't do my episodes as of late, my disability shows more hint when I do the show to try to hide my disability. But YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, it's pretty much everywhere. But with that being said, this is not about me, this is about you. And the first couple questions I saw about were very interesting. Is you are a coach, you're a professional speaker, book author, and you are a professional radio host. So the first one I'm going to ask you, and also you like inventions. So with everything you accomplished, because you have a great resume, what was the very first thing that you do? Were you a coach, speaker, author, or talk show host?
Well, before I was any of those, those are all veered towards inventor-related topics or experiences. But how I got there was actually by starting to come up with inventions. So I was young, and I realize now that I started to rip things up in a nice way, take things apart, see how they work, just being a real people watcher, doing things and figuring out ways how to make my own experiences easier. And I started to write them down and then look at them from a consumer perspective, not so much personally, but is this something that other people would use, not just for me? And is it something broad enough? Maybe some are niche in different industries, but I started to develop my own inventions and go through the steps of getting my products commercialized. And I started to realize that other people needed that kind of help too, to figure out what they needed to do first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So that's how I decided to get a little bit more active in the inventor community, passing my message along to what it kind of takes to get your idea out there. So that's when I started my radio show called Got Invention Radio. I've had guests on like Lori Grenier from Shark Tank and Kevin Harrington and LegalZoom and Thomas Ned and Johnson & Johnson and Walmart, and the inventor, the inventor of the cell phone, the inventor of the Jenga. So I had like 150 plus guests. I stopped doing it for now. I'm planning on getting back into it and being a podcaster just like you. But I also authored 2 books. One is called You and Your Big Ideas, and the other one is Inventing Secrets Revealed. And I just continue to keep coming out with my own inventions and helping other people with their inventions. And I just recently became the United Inventors Association, which is a 501c3 non-for-profit that's a spin-off from many years ago of the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. I'm now their executive director. So I'm just on a quest and a mission. Plus, I also founded and I run the Long Island Inventors and Entrepreneurs Club and also the Queens Club, and I help other inventors clubs out there. And I've been doing that for over 14 years. So I'm really excited to help other inventors, and I have my own level of success with my own inventions on As Seen on TV and being an on-air guest on QVC for many years, and just getting a chance to speak in front of different inventors groups and different innovation platforms to get the message out to inventors. And now I get to do it with you.
No, absolutely. And if it's a possibility, I would have loved to work with you.
For sure.
You know, it's funny because there's this 1-800-INVENTION or 1-800. It's the thing with the caveman where he's sitting there with the hammer. It's like 1-800-INVENT. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
Yeah, look, there's many companies out there that help inventors in their own way. You can find people and companies online. Look, everybody's entitled to be in business, and the most important thing is for you to do your own due diligence and make sure that you get references and ask how people's experiences have been. And with me, yeah, I've been, when I've been handling my own and working on my own inventions, I started to take more phone calls and help other inventors, and I started to realize that I've been working with inventors for well over 15 years now, and I've become the inventor coach. And if you have an idea, whether you're looking to license it to earn royalties or to manufacture it, let's say you want to start your own business, I'm able to help you. So from the beginning of thinking about your idea, brainstorming, getting my opinion, my feedback, my suggestions, and then working through intellectual property protection, talking about 3D prototyping or modeling, depending on if you're using plastic, wood, metal, cut and sew material, fabric, just any type of material along the way for prototyping, and then working your way towards getting a patent, and then making a decision if you're looking to license it, where you're taking your idea and you're putting it, or you're renting the rights, let's say, most of the time to your intellectual property, and it's on another company's brand in their product line, and they're adding your product to their line, and every time one of them sells, you would earn a royalty. So that's licensing. And then manufacturing, let's say, Andrew, if you wanted to take your idea and get it to a point where you're going to manufacture it, and now you're going to handle working with the factory for producing it, and then handling all the shipping and warehousing and receiving and all that kind of fun stuff. And the rewards are there for both, and the risk is a little bit less when you're licensing. But there's definitely the road to choose from whether you want to license or manufacture. We could talk about any of this fun stuff, and maybe also talk about the first steps of what you do when you do come up with an idea, because I know a lot of people are interested in that.
No, absolutely. And the first thing I do want to talk to you about real fast is, would my talk show be an invention idea, number one, and how would he go about that? And there were a couple ideas I really came up with. Okay, yes, I did come up with, but unfortunately there are similar prototypes. And let me ask you what's that one number first.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my talk show is on the side. Let's do the prototypes first. Say I have a prototype and you have a prototype, and we both go into, I don't know, Walmart or Target, and then we see the same thing that we were just talking about inventing already on the shelf. So, who owns the rights to that, and can you make your own variation of that?
Okay. Well, there's a lot more to it before you get to a prototype, but I could say that if you're bringing a prototype into Walmart and you see the same product on the shelf,
yeah.
Well, I'm wondering if that product might have been around for a little bit longer than yours, because they had to have made, or most likely have made, a prototype also and gone through some due diligence and seeing if there was something that was out there already, doing a patent search to see if their intellectual property either infringes on somebody else's intellectual property, or they had a provisional patent application which gives them the right for 1 year to say that their idea is patent pending while they're exploring the market. So maybe they had a provisional, or maybe it's a design patent where it's ornamental and it looks similar to, or it's basically ornamental where it's protecting the design of it, or it's a utility patent, otherwise known as a non-provisional patent application or patent, where it actually works like and functions, and it has claims in it, and that's also a strong level of protection with intellectual property. So to your question, you walked in there, what I would do is I would flip over the box of that product, and I would take a look at the company name, and I'd go on to uspto.gov, which is the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office official website, and I go into patent search, and I do a basic search, and I put in the company name and search by the name and see if they have a patent on it that was assigned to them. And I could take a look. Maybe they came up with their idea 10 years ago. And just because you didn't see it at one point in Walmart, or maybe you went to Target and you didn't see it and you worked on it, and then all of a sudden, after you worked on it, you went into Walmart with your prototype, and now you said, wait a second, my product's out there. So I could tell you, though, Andrew, from my experience working with inventors, I've spoken to so many people that have come up with an idea, and they told me they've been working on it for years and years and years.
Right.
And they said they can never find, they haven't found anything else out there like it. And all of a sudden, I just pull up a quick search and I share my screen with them on Skype, and I'm like, is this your product? Like, how did you find that? And I'm like, well, I put in descriptive words of your idea. That's the way search engines work. They'll pull descriptive words, and you can do instead of going click, click, click to each link on the web, you can click on images as you search.
Right.
And you can visually see if there's similar type of things out there. So I believe you, Andrew, that you came up with your idea and you worked on it, but the question is who came up with it first, and did you do enough of due diligence, not only to go to the Target and didn't see it in there, but then you went to Walmart, but a patent search by a professional patent agent or patent attorney is really important. And I really stress that first point of being doing that patent search, because you can go on to step 5, 6, 7, or 8, and you didn't spend the time and do the research and due diligence with step 1 of that patent search to compare what you have to what's out there already, and that really makes a difference. So if you do that step 1 where it's the patent search, in my opinion, well, you have to come up with the idea first, so maybe patent search is step 2 or 3. But when you come up with it and you do that patent search, you'll see if there's similar type of ideas that, or products, or patents, I should say, that were issued that comes up. And that patent attorney or agent is going to compare what you have to what already exists. So if it's over 20 years old for a utility patent, then that means it's public domain. So anybody can make it, and you can just put your own name on it, most likely, and sell it if you want. But you most likely not going to be able to license it because they don't really need you. They could do it themselves if it's public domain. If it's within the 20 years for that utility patent, and you're still thinking about doing it, you should think twice, because most likely you would be infringing on intellectual property, and that's what they have for the 20 years. If it's a design patent, then it's 14. So I always like to give this example. You've heard of the Snuggie, right, Andrew?
Yeah, the Snuggies.
Do you have one?
No.
I'm just kidding. But I know a lot of people do. So the Snuggie was invented many, many, many years ago. But years back, I mean, not too long ago, a company came up with it and said, you know what, this blanket with sleeves is public domain because it was well over 20 years ago that somebody came up with a blanket with sleeves. So why don't we just come up with a good name and call it the Snuggie? And they were able to sell it. But you've seen the Slanket and all these other versions of the Snuggie out there because everybody has a right to sell it because it's public domain.
Right.
So I hope I've given you some insight to when you do come up with an idea what you should do and kind of like what you got yourself into with that prototype going into Walmart and seeing your product out there. And by the way, just one other point, the U.S. since 2010 is first to invent. So that means that when you come up with something, you need to file your patent right away in the patent office to be able to claim that first right.
No, I agree, and I give you another example. I won't tell you the idea I'm thinking of. I will tell you what I told Invention, 1-800-INVENT-HELP. I'm a big wrestling fan, if you can obviously see that. And I'm like, why not have a wrestling dummy? And let me use you for an example. How tall are you?
Oh, great. I'm the wrestling dummy. By the way, Hulk Hogan's birthday was the other day. I think he's 66. It was in my local paper, so.
Oh, I didn't know that.
How tall am I? 5'6", 5'7" on a good day?
If you don't mind me for asking, how much do you weigh? For an example, you can just make it up.
Oh my gosh, this is really personal. On a good day, after the weekend, or at the end of the week?
Let's just say 100 pounds.
Okay.
Alright, so you said you're 5'7" and 100 pounds. Now imagine that, but as a replica wrestling dummy. So if I like reenacting wrestling moves, and I don't know if you probably like, I guess you're in shape. I guess you like punching the punching bag. But imagine you have your very own wrestling dummy that's your height, and it kind of you can make it your weight if you wanted to, and you can beat the living crap out of it. Now, that's good because that replaces wrestling with your friends, and you get your friend injured, and he's got to cry to his mommy, and then you got.
I used to use my little brother.
Oh.
I used to have and when we had Royal Rumbles and WrestleMania, we used to jump off the top step, and my little brother would be in a headlock on the bottom step. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this right now. Hopefully, he doesn't get me in trouble. But yeah, I mean, sure, you could do all kinds of moves and put them in headlocks and all the different wrestling moves. So you're saying, and I don't know how much deeper you want to get into this conversation on air, but sure. You know what it's reminding me of a little bit? Remember Stretch Armstrong?
Yes, and those wrestling buddies.
Right, like a bigger version of Stretch Armstrong would be fun, right? Because you could mold them and twist them and put them in headlock.
Well, that's a great idea. We can talk about off the air. But just imagine having your all full-size wrestling buddies, and they laughed at me. It's like, yeah, who's gonna buy a 7-foot, 100-pound wrestling buddy? I'm like, 1, diehard wrestling fans, 2, wrestling schools, and say, I don't know, Trish Stratus and Alita were practicing wrestling moves. 2 of my favorites. Wrestling was a real person. Yes, it's fun, it's exercise, but there's risk. Beating up in an object, I can't think of the word. What do you ever call it? Immovable object, or whatever the hell it is. And it breaks, it's not a big deal. So it's safer from beating up on a dummy. If that makes any sense, what I just said.
Sure, it makes sense. But Andrew, let me just let you know. First off, I don't know who's listening or who's what your audience is. Hopefully, they don't take your idea and do something with it without you or without your permission. But now the clock ticks. When you publicly disclose your idea to somebody, you have 1 year to be able to file. And I'm not an attorney, so this is just my opinion. I'm not giving any legal advice, but I can tell you that when you're publicly disclosing, within 1 year, you need to most likely file a provisional patent application. So, or whoever gets to the patent office first and files before that, it would be tough for you to prove, but you're disclosing it here. So, when you're doing that, when I run my Inventors Club meetings and there's people in the audience and they want to be able to disclose their idea to people, I let them know that they need to sign if they have intellectual property protection, then they can reveal it. If they don't feel comfortable going through it, they can maybe just talk about the industry that their idea is in. And if they don't have any intellectual property and they disclose it, they're at their own risk.
Well,
So,
if it makes you feel better, the idea's out already, because I mentioned that back in 2010, but my idea's better. I saw recently WWE was doing the behind the scenes at the Performance Center. Excuse me. They were doing behind the scenes at the I can't even speak, Jesus. They were doing behind the scenes at the Performance Center in Florida, and they had not the full-size body person, but it was like a big log, and it had arms and legs, and they're like, okay, drop an elbow, and the person would jump up, and they drop an elbow, and whatever. So yeah, it's out there, but what I'm talking about, it's not out there. It is and it isn't.
Got it. You talked about the one that you worked on that you realized that already existed. I understand. But anyway, my whole spiel, I guess, was a good educational lesson if you did reveal it. But that's the same thing, like if anybody else, when they have an idea. And look, it's really important to work with people that have been there, done that in a way, because if you just keep the idea to yourself, then you're not going to be, like, you can figure it out, and it took me time to figure out, but you do most likely need people to be able to get you through several of the steps, or work with people that have what you need, like a patent attorney or agent. I keep saying attorney or agent because patent attorneys, they went to law school and they litigate, and most likely their fees are a little bit higher. A patent agent can communicate with the patent office on your behalf, and they probably went to they have an engineering degree, they understand patent to a point, but a patent lawyer can litigate and go to court, and a patent agent can't, and they're most likely a little bit less expensive. So just doing that search in the beginning. So your new idea, I would say that it's exciting, you're emotionally attached to it, you want to see it out there, you're afraid to talk about it to people. So what I would tell you to do, Andrew, is do your research. Go on uspto.gov, go on Google Patents, which is really a good resource. Go on the web and put in descriptive words and look to see what comes up under images, and see if there's similar type of things out there. Gather all your information and give it to a patent attorney or agent. Let them compare it. And if you get an opinion that says it's patentable, it's just their opinion. But if it is patentable, then keep going. If you hit a brick wall, then you realize that maybe you should move on to your next idea. If there's something similar that you're not going to be able to get a patent on, then if there's one that already exists and it's still active and it didn't expire, then you might be infringing. And if it's over 20 years old, then you can make it. You just can't get a patent on it, but you can make it and put your own name on it, and you can sell it. But you're going to be responsible for manufacturing.
Well, and the reason I started to laugh was because I remembered, popped in my head, I'm a little slow. What popped in my head, I remember what the person said to me is, save your money, it's not realistic.
Well, that's somebody's opinion.
Yeah.
You know, you're wearing a purple shirt that you loved, and I'm wearing this shirt that I love. You might not like my shirt, and I might not like your shirt, but there's people that bought the purple shirt, and there's people that bought my shirt. So everybody's entitled to their opinions. I always like to get many people's opinions, and when I'm at a point where I'm not sure, I have a non-disclosure agreement that I print out, and I ask people to sign it, and I know that they won't talk about my idea without my permission to anyone. When you're asking your friends and family, most of the time they're going to pat you on the back and tell you it's wonderful and fantastic because they don't want to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
And if they say, yes, it's fantastic, they have nothing to lose. If they say your product sucks or your idea stinks, you might be upset with them, and it starts to get... So it's better off for them to just say it's great and let you keep going. So you want to get, like, people's opinions. Like, if I come up with a kitchen gadget, I might go into one of the stores and ask some people in the kitchen gadget area what their opinion is. or I might ask a licensee that has products already in retail, or I might ask a buyer that works with the consumer, or I might just go directly to the consumer and ask. But I'll go to the industry or the area that I would like to get real opinions on, rather than my friends and family. Some of my friends and family at this point, they'll tell me like it is. They'll rip me to shreds sometimes, but that's okay because I value their opinion, but it's not the only one that I take.
And I can relate to that because on my talk show, some people like it, some say it's horrible. But I do have a question for you. But when we come back from the commercial break, I'm going to ask you about social media and go back to those subjects real fast where you mentioned. And I do have some great ideas for you off the air as well.
Hi, I'm Marissa Joy Davis.
This is Michelle Wong.
And I'm Nancy Rose.
My name is Brandy Hunt. And
hello, my name is Raven Wynn.
Hi there, my name is Giovanna Vidal.
Hi, I'm Monica Thomas.
Hi, I'm Paisley Blackburn.
I'm Ashley Burgess.
Hi, my name is Jeanette Abney.
Hi, I'm Sharon Spank.
Hey, this is Samantha Moore.
Hi, I'm Melody Jones.
Hi, my name is Becky Yee.
Hi, you're watching the Keith Andrew Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 618. I'm here with Brian Freed, and as I say, it's a real honor to have you with us. Now, what's the last 8 minutes and counting? I do want to hint back to the beginning of the show about coaching, being a speaker, being a book author, and a talk show. I do want to touch on those subjects, number one, and then passing the show over to you, social media. But let's stay focused on the first one, with being an acting coach, being a coach, being a public speaker, writing your own books, and doing your own show. How did all those come about?
Well, I started off as an inventor, and just realizing that I wanted to get the word out to people, and through my books and radio show and inventors clubs and just all the activity I've been involved with in the United Inventors Association. So there's a lot of things that I just continue to do my best to get the word out, and I've been coaching inventors for over 15 years. My website is brianfreed.com, BRIAN, F as in Frank, RIED.com. And I also have my business website, which is inventorsmart.com. And I'm pretty active on LinkedIn.
No, absolutely. Now, hinted real fast because I know you're short on time. Give us your free top pointers for these subjects: coaching, speaking, and book author. What is the top three that come to mind that you got out of it?
Okay, well, as a coach, I realize that it's very important to be a good listener and respect people's ideas, because everybody has something that they've been thinking about and dreaming about and getting emotionally attached to. So I'm a good listener and tell people like it is. I can tell you, Andrew, a lot of people come to me and they show me something that already exists, and I have to be the one to kind of break their heart. And they might be upset with me. I'm just trying to help. And at the same time, they come back to me later on and say, you know what, I have another one, and I'm glad that we didn't continue on the first one, because I didn't see what you found, and I didn't look at it the way that you looked at it. And ultimately, I want you to make money with your idea. And if we both agree, and ultimately you agree, that your idea is limited with potential, then maybe you should move on to your next idea, and that's okay. So that's my inventor coach tip. My other one is as a book author. Well, I think it's been a great experience. I love to write, and I do some deep thinking, and I want to be able to give relevant information out to people in a different way that maybe don't listen to a radio show or a podcast and don't watch TV and don't go out, just like don't go to an inventors club, for example. So one of the mediums is to write a book. So I authored a book, and I did it again, and I have another one that's coming out. So that's been an experience, and that's why I've done that. And you could self-publish a book, and there's a lot of great experiences to being an author that I've been involved with, including book signings and just being able to give my book out to students and to people that are looking to get started with their inventions and looking for inventing tips. So I have You and Your Big Ideas was my first book. Inventing Secrets Revealed is my second book. And my third one is coming out soon. And what was the other one? So I have the author and the inventor, coach, and what else?
Oh, it was being a speaker.
Speaker? I love to get the word out. Same thing. It's another way of communicating to people, whether it's my book or the inventors clubs. And just being a speaker, I get a chance to really connect with people. And I love to keep my energy up when I'm communicating with people, just like yourself. I enjoy it. I love meeting new people, and just anytime I have a chance to speak, I love to get the word out and give people the best advice that I can to help them move forward with their invention ideas.
No, absolutely. Now, I do have a couple questions for you off the air, but with the last 4 minutes, I'm going to pass it over to you. But the last thing I do want to ask you is social media. With everything that social media, can it make you or break you? With everything that you accomplish in your life, of being a radio host, book author, speaker, inventor, has social media helped you, or do you think it kind of hurts in a way?
Well, I think that people, when they come up with ideas, and if you want to relate it to that, it's a lot of people think that they put something on social media and they're going to become an instant gazillionaire. And it's like anything else. You need to build connections and network and find something or work with something or come up with something that people find interesting. And look, Andrew, a good tip, like somebody will come to me with a golf ball and they'll tell me, Brian, I came up with this golf ball and everybody in the world is going to want one. And I'm like, okay, tell me where. Well, I was at the golf course and I looked around and I went, wow, everybody plays golf. And I said to him, I appreciate that and I understand. And there's a lot of golf balls that do many different things and promise golfers different things. So you have this new golf ball and you're telling me everybody in the world is going to want your golf ball. But when you go to a restaurant or you go to outside of the golf course and you start to ask people if they play golf, what do they say? Do you play golf? Do you play? No, yes. Okay, so maybe you get a couple people that do. So the point is that you're in a niche market or niche business with that golf ball because not everybody plays golf. And then the people that do play golf, they have many options to come up with to play golf using whatever type of golf ball they want. So now you start to diminish your window of opportunity. Yes, you can make some money, but the question is how much. So when you're putting out social media that here's my golf ball, you have to realize that you need to cater to who it is that you're going to, that would be using your idea or your invention or your product. So social media is good. Pinpoint who it is that you're looking to target, network, go to trade shows, go to industry events, and continue to network and build relationships and connect on social media and expand. Social media is fantastic for launching an idea. These days you can make your own website. You can use, if you're looking for funding, there's Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Maybe you don't need funding to ask other people to help you fund and reach your goal on there, but maybe you do it on your own and you put that website up and you go on Amazon, and there's a lot of platforms, even like Walmart.com, and there's so many different ways for you to get the word out and launch with your to start with without relying on anybody else. So again, social media could be great. You just need to leverage your resources and your network and your connections.
No, absolutely. Now, with the last couple seconds left of the show, I just wanted to make sure you were enjoying yourself. Was there anything you wanted?
You're fantastic, Andrew. Thank you so much for having me, and you're a great host.
No, absolutely. Was there anything you wanted to talk about real fast, promote?
I would like to say that, Andrew, because you brought up a couple things before we got on the air. It doesn't matter who you are. You can be a doctor, a lawyer, employed, unemployed. You could be it doesn't matter what your profession is. If you're a senior citizen, if you're a student, your in all different types of situations, experiences around different people, and you're always doing things. You could be sitting on the couch. You can always you come up with things, and the people that make things happen are the ones that take it and capture that idea and say, you know what, let me do a little bit more research and see if it exists already. And if it doesn't, maybe I should continue. And if it does, okay, I'll wait for the next one. But if you put yourself in that mindset of looking around and seeing how you can make things better, improving it, thinking about how things work and making it better, or maybe you don't see something and you can fill that specific need. That's what it's about. So I'm sure everybody who's listening has been an inventor at one point or another of coming up with something. Now the next step, hopefully after listening to your show, is what to do with it next. And between you and me and other people, network and get the right people to help you to move forward.
No, absolutely. Now I do have a couple questions for you off the air.
Sure.
Wrapping up, how can people follow you on social media? Are you on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram?
Yep. I love LinkedIn. So on LinkedIn, it's Brian Fried. So it's LinkedIn/in/Brian Fried, BrianFried, or you just put in Brian Fried Inventor LinkedIn, and I'll come up. And then I'm active on the other social medias I'm on. So if you connect up with me on LinkedIn, hopefully you have that, then I can help you and connect up. But Andrew, maybe in the summary, maybe you could put some of the other ones because I don't know them offhand. But I know I'm active on Twitter and Instagram.
All right. Well, you can give me the Instagram as soon as we're done. About wrapping up, when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your first reaction and what made you say yes?
Your platform and your listeners are another way to get out there. And I know you mentioned a couple times that you have a disability, and I could say that it doesn't matter, again, who you are. You're in different situations, you're using things, you're looking at things, and just coming up with it. There's plenty of new ideas that are open for anybody in any industry, in any type of situation. So keep on inventing. No matter who you are, your situation, everybody's different, and people come up with all different types of ideas.
No, absolutely. I do have a couple questions for you off the air, but wrapping up, it was a real honor and privilege to have you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road.
Sounds good. Thank you, Andrew.